Sifu is an unrelenting game that will punish you for everything you do, and there are very few games that do it on a level as good. Everything in this game is so well made, from the boss fights to the finishing moves, and it was in my opinion overshadowed by many other games that released the same year. Which is a shame because this was such a breath of fresh air. I do understand why a lot of people missed out on it though. Not only was it released on Epic Games, which already threw people off immediately, but Sifu was also very hard. So the barrier of entry was enormous, but once you overcome this barrier and finally get good, you'll understand just how great Sifu really is. Sifu is a game where if you die, you have to restart the level. But there's a twist. When you die, you age, which means that you can choose to respawn again. Dying also increases the death counter, so each time you die, it increases by 1. This death counter then gets added to your age, so if you have died twice and die again, you age by 2 years. Trust me, it's not as complicated as it sounds. You will start as age 20 and can reach the max age of 70. Something important to mention is that you can spend XP to gain new abilities when you die. You either have them temporarily for just that level or spend more XP to unlock them forever. Trust me, it's not gonna be that hard. You're gonna be dying and restarting so much in the beginning, so getting XP won't be a problem. The age you have at the end of the level gets carried over to the next, so ideally you want to be as young as possible for the final boss. This aging mechanic is so unique, I don't think I've seen it in any other game. It makes all the other aspects of the game better too, like the replayability for example. You will now have a reason to go back and restart a level until you can come out as young as possible. It is still so entertaining going through them again, especially because of the combat. It feels so good fighting in Sifu. You have the typical light attacks and the heavy attacks, but you can also parry and dodge. And if you don't learn how to do that, you will not come far in this game. It is so vital to your survival that you learn when to dodge and when to parry. The first level you may beat while button mashing, but the second one will really humble you. Everybody in this game also has a posture, including you, the player. If your posture breaks by, for example, blocking too much, you will get stunned for a short period of time, like a second or two. But if you break the enemy's posture, you can perform finishers on people. And man, do they look good. Every single one of them is so perfectly choreographed and satisfying that you will end up just spamming them every chance you get. But be careful to not abuse them, because some enemies will go Super Saiyan if you try to finish them off. They will get even stronger and more aggressive. Those elite enemies are always marked by a shining white health bar, so you will know which ones to not finish off and just kill normally. Like I said before, you can unlock different skills, ranging from new attacks to quality of life skills. Most of these you don't even need, they just make the combat even more fun. There is one skill in particular that seems pretty mid in the beginning, but is so insanely OP, and that skill is the charged back fist. You can sometimes stun enemies by using it normally, but that's not the best use. Once you get to the museum, the third stage, and can finally use knives, you can charge it and then one-shot anybody. And I mean every single enemy in the game except for the bosses. Even the Super Saiyan guys. The only downside with this skill is that it uses all your weapon durability. That's not really a problem when there's always a weapon lying around somewhere. Sifu has 5 levels and a boss for each one of them. All the bosses are original in both their designs and their moveset. You'll have to use different strats for each one of them. The first one, for example, you can parry almost everything, but the second one you will have to learn to dodge, otherwise you'll die. Like, a lot. Every single boss in this game is challenging in a fun way, except for this one. Fuck whoever designed this crackhead piece of shit. Anyway, you can either kill the bosses or mercy them. Killing them gives you the bad ending, but mercying them gives you the good one. It's quite funny that not killing one guy suddenly excuses you slaughtering all of their subordinates. Alright, let's now delve into the best aspect of this game, the way it handles its difficulty. I think Sifu has a very unique way of challenging the player compared to a lot of other games. Instead of having just one way of beating the level or the boss, like in Dark Souls for example, you have several strategies to make it easier for yourself. The point of this game is to find shortcuts, easier ways to beat the enemies by finding different weapons and abusing every little trick you got, no matter how cheesy. Let's take the tower for example. In this room you can either just run straight up to the enemies and just make it hard for yourself, or you can run up to the counter, jump behind it, take the knife, and make this encounter 10 times easier. Another example is the first boss. In the second phase, you can run around looking for bamboo to use as a weapon and makes the boss much easier. Stuff like that is what I'm talking about. The game is of course still super hard, but stuff like this makes replaying levels both faster and more manageable. It's up to you as a player to look for these strategies and use the environment to your advantage. If you have watched until this point and are still interested, I urge you to buy it. It has since then been released on Steam and different consoles, and you should give it a try because I've never played something quite like it. And as a reward for that, watching this far, here is a little edit.
Everybody was kung fu fighting. Those kids were fast as lightning. In fact, it was a little bit frightening, but they fought with expert timing. There were funky Chinamen from funky Chinatown. They were chopping them up, they were chopping them down. It's an ancient Chinese art, and everybody knew their part. From a fainting to a slip, and a kicking from the hip.
I have spent 8 long years preparing for this.